hey everybody, it's con week in our house. And we're not freaking out because we're not cosplaying this year.
No.
Makes life a whole lot easier. Hello, cult members. Welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. This is Sean.
I'm Janice.
And, hi.
Hi. You changed it up, and
Hi.
now I don't know what to say.
Sean, Janice, Pop Culture Cult. Hi. Welcome to our show. We have decided that this is episode 65-ish, we think. It could be probably more like 63 or 70 or whatever. And
We just went for the middle.
yeah, we just
65-ish.
we're trying to decide if like the special edition episodes and the yearlies, if those count in the numbering system, and so
Right.
we're trying to figure that out.
The very special episodes.
The very, very special episodes. We're discussing if we go to phase 2 into a new studio, we may have to restart the numbering process because comics have never done that before. First off, we want to thank everybody who has watched the Bohemian Rhapsody trailer reaction that we did. It's over 18,000 views, which is freaking amazing. We're two people sitting in a bedroom talking about movies and TVs and doing reactions, and we're not promoting any of this, and we're getting some traction out of it.
Yeah.
And so
And Bohemian Rhapsody, really?
right.
Not Marvel or...
We've gotten with Infinity War trailer reactions and like other stuff, and we had like 4,000 or 5,000 views on those,
yeah.
and it's awesome. And then we do like Mission Impossible, the newest Mission Impossible had like 45 on it the other day. I was just like, well, I don't understand what's going on.
All right.
It's all about the thumbnails. It's all about the pictures.
Okay, if you say so.
But what we want to say is first, thank you for coming and joining us in the Pop Culture Cult. We ask a couple of things from you. It's not real hard. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell, ring the bell up there. It's here somewhere. Hit that bell. You get notifications of stuff that we're doing, all the trailer reactions, movie reviews, stuff like that. We just did Deadpool. We're going to Han Solo on Thursday, that kind of stuff. Also, the only other thing that we really ask of you is share this channel with your friends. I'm not going to break any news here. We're two middle-aged people who love movies and TV, and we're talking about it. We want to talk about it with you guys, and so building that community and sharing all that stuff is how we're doing it. So please share with your friends, please. Please share with your friends, please, because we're really cool and only somewhat awkward.
Speak for yourself.
Okay, I'm the awkward one. But welcome all the new people, and thank you for sharing this with your friends and bringing them in and watching us two yahoos talk about stuff. So let's talk about stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about Deadpool. Deadpool 2. I still think they should have called like Volume 2 or number 2 or something like that.
They did Volume 2 for Guardians of the Galaxy.
They did. Deadpool opened this weekend to $125 million domestically, $300 million total. The $30 from us to go see it happened on Thursday. We went with like 12 of our friends over the entire row at the very first showing that we could go to on
Sorry.
on Thursday. And we did a full spoiler trailer reaction. I'll add it to the end of this video. But it was we had a good time.
We did.
We had a really good time.
And all right, one more time. Pretty much, I think everybody we went with liked it.
Yeah,
and
even like our super comic book nerd people who like complain about everything. Like that's not how it was done in the comics. Were like they really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the guys at work went and saw it over the weekend, and he pretty much said the same thing I did. Don't take your kids. Laughed until he cried several times.
Yeah.
Domino was the bomb.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. We're probably gonna go see it tomorrow or Wednesday. Because we have the movie pass and we can do that kind of stuff. So we're going to abuse the movie pass as long as we have it. The other thing that happened this weekend is that Infinity War is still doing really, really great. It had a big drop off from the previous week. It was like
Right.
65% or something like that. But it still made $29 million. When you have an opening weekend of what was it, 265 or whatever, or
Yeah.
270 or whatever. So it had a huge drop off. It made $30 million, and I know Super Troopers 2 would have loved to have made $30 million,
Right.
right?
Total.
And they made $30 million this weekend.
Yeah.
It's 591 million, 595 million. Sorry, here domestically, 1.8 billion total worldwide. It probably won't get Force Awakens numbers, but it's gonna be pretty close.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And with considering that Deadpool 2 came out, that
And Solo's coming out next
Solo's
weekend.
coming out. Yeah. I mean, obviously, people are gonna spend their movie dollars on a movie they haven't seen yet.
Yeah, yeah. Or there's a bunch of weirdos like The Greatest Showman. The people went and saw it like 8 or 9 times in the theater.
Right.
It's gonna be like Black Panther's still in the fucking theater. It was
Yeah.
like 12th or something like that this weekend. It's like that movie was out last year, and that was not really last year, but
No, but the DVD is out, so just buy it already.
we got it on Blu-ray the day it came out, and it took us 4 days to watch it because we've been working crazy hours and
Yeah.
trying to do all this other stuff for the channel. So we finally got to sit down and watch it, and the extras are just so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coogler just talking about stuff, and there's a pretty good gag reel. And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, his little intro was nice. I said when we watched it, I knew that he was a black guy, but I didn't realize he was so young. I mean,
he's super
he
young. Yeah.
may not even be 30 yet.
Yeah.
He's really young.
Yeah.
So
But the Blu-ray
It's
is
awesome.
definitely worth it, and especially for the deleted scenes. There's some deleted scenes in there where I understand why they removed them from the movie for pacing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But what happens in those scenes is super important to the overall story of Black Panther, and I think Black Panther is probably going to be my top 5 almost all year, unless 3 more movies come out and blow it out of the water. I'm not giving any spoilers away. Fucking Infinity War. But it's gonna take a lot, and having those extra scenes even adds to that movie.
yeah. Yeah, I mean they definitely tell more of the story, which obviously is why they took him out because they drug the scene down or the story down or whatever. But
the pacing of the scenes are just a little slow for
Yeah.
what they were doing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just amazing weekend for the box office for Marvel in general.
yeah,
And the reason, part of the reason I also wanted to bring this up tonight too was because it's it's the internet, and the internet can be super bitchy about stuff, and there's some clickbait articles going around about, is there superhero fatigue because Deadpool only made $125 million this weekend domestically, and the first one made $132 million on opening weekend. And now is there superhero fatigue? Like everybody's waiting for that shoe to drop. And
right. And it's just let people, there's going to be a certain amount of people that are going to wait because sequels or part 2s or part 3s or whatever historically aren't as good as the first one, and so
Right.
there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, I'll wait and see if it's any good, and I think that they'll go this weekend.
And exactly what we're talking about. We have Solo coming out, so the Star Wars fans who are casual Marvel fans are saving their money for next weekend.
Right.
Or there's a family of 4. Well, they all went and saw Infinity War, obviously, and they don't have the money to go to Deadpool. And if it's a family of 4 and your youngest is 8 and your oldest is 12, you're not taking your kids to
Deadpool anyway.
a rated
Well,
R.
Apparently
Deadpool.
some people are.
Well, I mean,
but-
we're pretty progressive, but I even some of the stuff, there's like really young kids. I probably like
Yeah.
8, 9.
Yeah.
It's kind of gray.
No, I wouldn't take our grandson, and he's almost 12.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's a little much.
yeah. It's a little much, but I'm tired of this, clickbait. And we were talking about it at dinner. I'm like, just don't click on it. They'll stop writing those articles if you stop clicking on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was just funny. So in a very, I'm not going to say odd. Odd's not the right word. And a very unprecedented act today, Michelle and Barack Obama signed a production deal with Netflix to help produce scripted and unscripted docuseries, documentaries, feature films over the next several years in a multi-year deal. Now, I say unprecedented because when presidents do their 8 years, if they actually make it 8 years, they always go into, public speaking or philanthropy,
Yes.
Or you go back to the peanut farm and build houses. I mean, what and smoke weed. It's saving his cancer.
Hey.
Carter.
Go for it.
Or you go back to your ranch and paint.
Right.
Like you
Right.
don't go. They're both very young, still
Right.
very young. They're still in
Right.
their 50s. But I've never heard of this before.
Right. Well, and okay, first of all, this, the social media streaming, this has never happened before, right? This is all very new. And, the only other president that I could kind of equate to Obama would have been Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
He went on
Arsenio
Hall, and played his saxophone, and I'm young and hip and cool, and
I loved Arsenio Hall because I was a '90s kid who was into the black culture and hip hop and all that stuff. I was watching that night when he walked out.
Yeah, everybody watched
like,
that.
It was freaking that a presidential candidate didn't come on to a talk show at all. And if he did,
not a late night talk show,
not a late night one where he was he wasn't even there to talk to Arsenio. He was just in the band hanging out.
Yeah. He wasn't there pushing his agenda or his campaign or somebody else's campaign.
I've joked about this before, and it's been published before. Clinton was the first black president. He got elected because he was on Arsenio Hall and got the black vote.
Maybe.
I mean, that's what happened.
But Obama did the show that David Letterman has on
they talked about
Netflix.
that in the article I was reading.
And it was we watched it. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I wanted more of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he has other people in there, but I just wanted to just keep bringing him back.
Yeah. I just find this very the Obamas have been very progressive about the way they were really the first candidates to do the social media push, and I read a couple of his books before he got elected when he was still a senator from Illinois.
But not the kind of social media that our current president is doing.
Right. He actually used it in a positive way and not just whatever the fuck Trump's doing. But I thought this is really cool to me because I think they're going to bring a different voice.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there isn't diversity in filmmaking and documentary making and all that kind of stuff. There totally is. This is just a different voice from a different perspective.
And it's maybe, I mean, I don't know what their content is going to be, but I think a lot of the black directors and writers and stuff come from a more urban childhood. And,
or less wealthy, or
right, and the Obamas are going to be more of the middle class, upper class, black voice, I guess,
history was made when he got elected, so you have whole part.
Well, and they're both very much into if they're gonna do some of the kind of philanthropy things that they're into, Phil Lamprey things that they're into for their docuseries that I think it'll be interesting, a different point of view.
I think it's really cool. When I heard about it today, when I was Fandom app sent me a thing, and I was like, "What does that say?" And I went and read the article. I was just like, "Yeah, I think that's I'm really interested in what they're gonna do."
Yeah.
So, and knowing them, they'll have some very serious stuff. And then there'll be a basketball series.
Yeah.
And then there'll be some sketch comedy thing or whatever, because both of them are very funny.
Oh my God, him on the Zach Galifianakis
Between the Ferns.
In Between the Ferns. Oh my God, that's the funniest one ever.
There's somebody who gets the joke.
I thought Obama was gonna physically punch Zach Galifianakis at one point. Oh, so funny. If you haven't seen it, go find it.
Go watch it. Finish our show. Go find it on YouTube. So there's been talk about all these A-list actors who have not been in a superhero movie, right? Because
Yep.
that's like that's the thing now.
Yeah.
And there's been a short list of the list is getting shorter and shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
Leo, we're looking at you.
Maybe this could be your Oscar.
Wait, your second Oscar or whatever,
Oh,
which
did
you
he
should
get
have
one
won
for
for
Revenant?
huh?
Did he get one
He
for Revenant?
got one for Revenant,
Oh,
but
okay.
he should have gotten it for Django, and he should have gotten it probably for like 4 other roles before that.
Yeah.
But so Jake Gyllenhaal was on that list until, well, it's not official yet. He's still in talks, but he's going to play the big bad villain in what everybody is calling Homecoming 2.
Right.
It's going to be something else. It was not
lack
going to be
of a better
Homecoming,
word,
but
yeah.
it's going to be Homecoming 2, and he's going to play
Coming home again.
yeah, Prom, Spider-Man Prom,
Graduation.
Spider-Man Eurotrip.
Oh God.
Please do Eurotrip Spider-Man, please. He's going to play Mysterio, and so the only reason I bring this up, well, the 2 reasons I bring it up is because I went and had to go look at the picture of Mysterio from the comic with the fishbowl on his head.
Yeah.
They have to do some kind of reference to
Yeah. Weird.
that. But Jake Gyllenhaal, like I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I think he's a great actor who gets zero notoriety for the stuff that he does.
Yeah, and he does some stuff where you're like, he is messed up. Like his character is messed up.
Yeah, and he's a super awesome guy. Like
Yeah.
every time you see him in an interview, even when he's on those press junkets, like every interview, he's still engaged and
Yeah,
still having
yeah.
fun and stuff. But I just, like I said, the A-list of people in superhero movies is getting shorter and shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
And Jake Gyllenhaal jumping into this would be really kind of cool. And it kind of the way they're kind of setting it up, it looks like they're going to be kind of working their way towards the Sinister Six. Tom Holland is young enough to kind of work their way, and it's essentially 6 villains finally like realize they all can't beat Superman or Spider-Man on their own, so they get together. So if you do that, then maybe they can bring Venom into the Spider-Man. I like that a big Spider-Man like Avengers meetup
Yeah.
could be in the works. I'm not saying it's going to be. I'm not saying that. But you got
We
Miles.
don't have an inside track.
We don't. I'm working on it, guys. But we're getting Miles Morales, Spider-Man universe movie, whatever, in the fall, and Peter Parker's supposed to be in that.
Well, is it a movie?
It's
or is
an
this-
animation movie.
Well, I know it's animation. Is it a movie? I thought it
Yeah.
was like a mini series or something
No,
on
it's
Netflix.
it's like an hour and a half or 2 hour long movie. That's gonna
Movie
be
in the movie theater.
In the movie
Oh,
theater, and the
okay.
animation looks so
Cool.
good.
Yeah, it
And
does.
we get Venom. And the rumor is Peter Parker's going to be in Venom, so they're kind of doing all these little movements. It's like kind of what Marvel did with the Avengers. It's like here's a piece and here's a piece and here's a
Yeah.
piece, and then you kind of like, wait a minute, that actually connects to that and that and that with these scenes. And
Except it's a little more difficult because of the rights.
so the Sony,
Yeah.
Sony and Marvel playing really nice together. So
Yeah.
that'll be interesting. It came out last week that Robin Fleischer had so much fun with Zombieland 1 that he wants to do Zombieland 2.
10 years later.
10 years later.
Let's go.
Zombieland 1 was actually a birthday viewing. It came out the weekend of my birthday, so I went and got drunk. And then we went and saw Zombieland. And I'm not really into like the zombie thing, right? Or
Right,
the
he's
horror
not.
thing.
No.
But it was fun. It was like
It was fun.
it was a kind of the best cameo ever until Deadpool 2. Like just so well done. But the big thing about this is that the original writers are coming back. Robin Fleischer is coming back, and they're trying to get the entire original cast to come back outside of Bill Murray. Although if Bill Murray shows up as a zombie, that would be like, now that's the best cameo ever, right? Spoilers for a 10-year-old movie. Do you want to see this? Do you think it's too late? Do you think
I don't know. I mean,
they're gonna do a time jump? They've already talked about if they're gonna do this.
well, they're going to have to if they've got the
little
girl
girl,
because
yeah.
she's, in her 20s now.
Right.
I mean, it's like the Bill and Ted 3.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it something I was staying up all night thinking, why don't they come out with this? No. if it's good,
If the
cool.
trailer comes out and it looks as good or as funny as the first one, then
We'll go
we're
see it. Yeah,
yeah.
but it's not. It just. I don't know. I don't know. There's so much original stuff out there. Can we just keep going with the original stuff?
I I I I'm starting to agree with the. I understand why studios are going back and doing sequels or remakes or
Revisiting.
whatever, revisiting. It's not like it's a new thing, guys. Like Scarface is a remake of a movie that was a remake of a movie from the 40s.
Yeah.
It's always been going on. Magnificent Seven, the new one, is based off the original one, which
Original,
is
yeah.
based off of Seven Samurai from the 30s. So it's always happened. It's just there's a lot of original content that studios aren't willing to get into right now because they don't want to spend $30 million and only make $45 million on a movie. What they want to do is what Avengers did, but
Right.
they can't figure out how to do that because they spent 10 years
Right.
building
That
all
was
that up.
10 years in the
Right,
making.
right.
And having, the first Thor or the second Thor that didn't do so well. Here's my theory. Keep Natalie Portman out of the MCU
Or the
and
Star Wars universe.
and the Star Wars universe, and they will do much better. Um, poor Natalie Portman. But they had the movies that didn't weren't huge successes,
Right,
but they were important and part of the road to the Infinity
right,
War.
right, right.
So you've got too many companies out there and studio execs and stuff
Warner Brothers.
who have to put their fingers in it and mess it all up, and
Yeah.
it doesn't make $100 million. It only makes $50 million. So it was a huge disaster, and we're throwing the whole thing away and going off and doing something else. And
Zombieland. I mean, at the most, I think they would maybe spend $40 or $45 million on it. It wasn't a big budget in the first one,
no,
and they
might not
might
even
add
been
a
that
little bit
much.
more only because everybody is a name now. Jesse Eisenberg's a name.
Yeah,
Emma Watson's a name. Well, Woody Harrelson was always a name, but
yeah,
but uh, but they're not going to spend a ton of money on it. But if it's funny and it's got a good story, there's a place for movies like that.
right.
There's
Just don't spend a ton of money and it'll be fine.
Hotel Artemis comes out here next week or the week after or whatever. There's a great example of a movie that didn't spend a whole lot of money. It's all filmed on one set on one location.
Yep.
It's very poorly lit, from looking at the trailers
Right.
because it's in a freaking hotel or
Hospital.
well, it's a hotel that actually doubles as a hospital.
Right.
But they didn't spend a ton of money on that
Right.
movie.
Look at A
So
Quiet Place. It's still in the movie theaters.
and it may and I think what did they say? I think it was like 20 million or
Yeah.
22 million
Oh, yeah.
or something.
It
It was something
wasn't.
ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get Out.
Get Out.
there's
They spent $4 million on it. And it made what was it, $600 million or something like that, or $400 million? It was
Big
something.
Sick. There's so
Yeah.
many out there that have done, little tiny budgets and done great.
If you let creative people be creative and do their vision, and not put your fingers in the fucking pie every time, then
Yeah.
we could do a whole diatribe on fanboys because we read this big old long article about fanboys and how
Yeah.
the studio Harvey Weinstein came and putting his fingers in the pie and messing it all up, and they reshot a bunch of it, and it just and it's still one of my favorite movies, but it just
Yeah.
so the Arrowverse is coming to a close for this season. I think the finales are either like flash finales and stuff like that, or this week or next week or last week. We're waiting for the whole season to
We're
drop.
streaming it on Netflix.
We'll stream it all on Netflix. But it came out last week. Stephen Amell got on and said, "We're incredibly excited to announce that we're doing another crossover event next fall on the CW." Duh. He didn't say that. And we'll be introducing a new character. That new character is going to be Batwoman. Not Batgirl, not Supergirl, Batwoman. They've already talked about Gotham in the Arrowverse on Flash and on Arrow. They've talked about Bruce Wayne in Arrow a couple of times, and so it's really cool that they've decided to do they're going to do another crossover. I'm not surprised they're doing another crossover. They're highly successful for the
Yeah.
CW,
Yep.
and the two that they've done have been really good.
Yeah.
Like the Crisis on Earth X was awesome
That was,
for a great four-way crossover, like a
Yep.
true four-way crossover.
Yep.
And that the fact that they're going to bring in Gotham and make it be a more major character, and that they're going to have Batwoman and have that more the DC universe.
Hopefully they don't do what they do with Supergirl, which is 2 seconds at the end of Supergirl, and then
Yeah, I mean they did better. They did better with that this year.
yeah, it still wasn't. Yeah, I don't know.
It wasn't great. I mean, the problem with Supergirl is that it's on planet 38 or whatever, right? And so
Yeah.
it's a different dimension. So
Yeah.
there was an article that came out today. Amel would like to see the Superman from that universe come to Earth One, or
Now, isn't that her boyfriend?
her cousin.
Cousin.
Her
Okay.
cousin.
Okay.
And he comes in and out of that show as Superman.
Yeah.
But he comes in and out of that show and whatever. And whenever you have Flash and Vibe, is it Vibe?
Yeah.
Who can go portal through different dimensions.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. Welcome to the DC universe, guys, where you can actually travel through different dimensions and stuff
Right.
like that.
And if you don't like the timeline, then Barry can just fuck it up, and you'll be in a new timeline. And
hashtag thanks, Barry.
thanks, Barry.
But I was they are bringing in the Bat universe. I mean, that's the only way to really put it.
Yeah.
Into the Arrowverse, and they're not going with Batgirl or Batman or Robin or anything
Yeah.
like that. They're going to bring in Batwoman, and it would be like it kind of be like a nice little wink and a nod if they hangs up the phone. There's or he's on the phone. All right, thanks, Gordon, and hangs up the phone, and like just little hints and stuff like that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Or just have J.K. Simmons show up.
But that's not Gordon in the show.
You want to blow up everybody's mindset.
No, because the movies are just a hot mess.
Well, they're on Earth 17 then, right? Did we just talk about the portals?
Sure.
No, you're not.
No, just
She doesn't like my stupid ideas sometimes.
you're pretty.
Sometimes, most of the time. Okay, so we're gonna do a preview for Phoenix Comic Fest. We talked about it for quite a long time, right around the first of the year, about doing what we normally do, and that is go down, get a hotel room, be there the whole weekend, and do the whole experience. And we've done it the last few years, and we'll do it in the future. But we decided that this is the year that we're gonna fly to London and spend 2 weeks in the UK, and we've booked those flights. And so we're saving pennies here and there and collecting every aluminum can I can find, and so we decided not to get the hotel room. So we're gonna it's 20 minutes from our house to go to the convention center. So the only reason we get the hotel room is A, we have a place to hide when we get away from the convention, and B, we can drink all night and not have to worry about driving home.
Right.
But this year, after all the things that happened last year with the security issues and the long lines, and I will say rumors of guests not being happy because of Dick Van Dyke kind of threw everything off, and big giant lines for all of that, and just the kind of the whole feel last year. Although we had fun, the whole feel last year was a little off.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
And with everything, and so this year we're super excited. We're going to go down Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and the guest list is. I don't want to say I'm not. I don't want to say that I feel wanted. Like I wanted more, but I wanted more.
Yeah. When we were talking about it this weekend, and Phoenix is the 5th largest city in the country.
Yeah.
5th largest city, and Emerald Con,
Emerald
Emerald
City
City,
and Portland and
and
Salt
Salt
Lake.
Lake
Salt
get
Lake's freaking list, and they are 3 months out. It's
they get
freaking crazy.
they get so many people,
Yeah.
and we get a few, very few, like 4 or 5. You're like, yes, these are awesome, and the rest of them are like,
Yeah.
okay.
I was super excited about Alan Tudyk last year. Like I
Yeah.
thought I think that was a big deal because it was right after Rogue One,
Yeah.
and they did a whole big con man like panel and
Yeah,
stuff,
and
Spectrum.
Spectrum,
Yeah.
and we're into that, but not so many people are,
Yeah.
and then they had John Bernthal and
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 Foggy,
the
yeah,
guy who plays Foggy, and they were
They were the last panel on the last day after everything. They were super
yeah,
tired.
yeah,
We had Karen Gillan last year for
yeah,
one day. She
yeah.
was really good. It just it because of everything that happened, both with the security stuff and like vendors being upset and it was
Vendors being kicked out.
vendors being kicked out and just the publicity the public perception of the con was very poor last year.
Yeah.
And so I felt that maybe I don't want to believe that it affected people coming in, but it feels like it kind of affected people coming in.
I think something has,
Yeah.
and it's been maybe over the last couple of years.
Yeah. But we're excited to go, and some of the people that we're excited about seeing. Now, this is not everybody that's coming to Phoenix Comic Fest. Freaking San Diego.
Don't sue us, San Diego.
Don't sue us, San Diego. There's a moment of adjustment going on. Phoenix Comic Fest. There's some people that we're really excited about seeing. William Shatner's coming back, and that
Yes.
was one of the first big announcements. I'm super excited about that one. I've always wanted to see Shatner. He was here like one of the first years I went by myself, and I just tell me a story, Uncle Bill, and I want to sit in the back and listen, and just
Right.
and then we get to send suggestions in to Square Egg, who runs the con. And so for like the last 3 years, I've been sending in a list. I've got about 8 or 10 different ones that I kind of float between. But one of them I always put on there was Will Wheaton. And so Will's coming this year.
Wheaton!
They listened to me finally. They have no idea who I am. They finally listened. And Anne, his wife, is coming because
Yep.
she wrote a children's book, I believe. And so she's going to do a panel for her book. And then Will's going to do a thing for his Nerdicide, whatever stuff.
Right.
And
he's Will Wheaton.
And it's Will Wheaton, and don't be surprised if he shows up in the tabletop game.
Oh yeah.
Room.
Yeah, of course he will.
I'm.
They'll probably do something at the Hyatt, like all night gaming session.
Yeah. There's a gaming section on the floor this year too.
Is
Like
there?
esports. They're doing a talk amongst yourselves. We're gonna talk about the map. You remember how the downstairs has got the L shape?
Yeah.
So that one back corner that always seems like where the tattoo place was last
Yeah,
year
yeah.
and whatever.
Yeah.
So they took that whole back section back there, and they're doing a whole esports, and they're doing like a Tetris tournament and Killer Queen tournament and all this other stuff, and they're doing that in there, and then they're going to use whatever space they lose out of that. They're putting more of those vendors up in the
Upstairs.
the Hall of Heroes, which is actually a really good idea. Like the Hall of Heroes last year was like the Hall of Heroes, so they break up our con and have the convention floor, and then they have the floor with all like the small panels, and then they have a big room across the street with all the big panels, and then right outside the door of that is they call it the Hall of Heroes, and that's where a lot of the signings are and the photo ops and stuff like that, and that's where a lot of the cosplayer groups are, and they filled the gaps last year with some
Smaller
vendors,
Yeah.
and some of them were really good, and some of them were I'm glad you were at the con, kind of thing. And
Yeah. You came up with the money to pay for
Yeah,
your booth.
yeah.
Good for you.
we have a friend of ours who we have 2 friends that vend that are vendors at Comic Fest, and one of them she was one of the ones in the Hall of Heroes, and she was like she made her money back and made a little bit of profit. She was super happy, and then our other friend who vends at almost everything, she made a very small profit. She's like, I don't know if it's worth all the work, and I'm like, it's, what do you want? We're also getting Dan Folger, which I'm super excited about.
It's a carriage house.
It's a carriage house. If nobody asks him a question about fanboys, I'm bum rushing the microphone and knocking out some little kid. Because after the seventh question about Fantastic Beasts is gonna,
Right.
which I'm
Right.
super excited for. But yeah, somebody has to ask him about fanboys.
And the ping pong movie,
Balls of Fury.
Balls of Fury.
Jesus Christ. Okay, you're in a movie with Christopher Walken about ping pong. Go. Tell me a story, Uncle Ron. He's also got a graphic novel that he just got done. It actually comes out. It came out last week. I watched it. He did an interview with Christian Harloff on Collider Video, and they talked about that and Fantastic Beasts and some of the Star Wars stuff and whatever. And so he should have a booth selling that. Would be really cool. I think it's awesome. Greg Gungberg is coming. Super geek, whatever.
Everything J.J. Abrams.
And everything J.J. Abrams. It'd be kind of interesting to see him. I'm not going to talk about him until later. Min Young Win, who was supposed to be here last year, but then she ended up having to have knee surgery because they got picked up for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So she came back. She is doing a bunch of voiceover panel stuff too, and then her own stuff, which I think will be really cool.
Okay.
We have Michael Rucker and Sean Gunn, and we were supposed to have Dave Bautista, but Dave actually has filming going on for something right now.
He got a job.
He got a job. I'm not going to be upset. He needs to come back, though. But they were going to do a big Guardians, the three of them do a Guardians panel together.
Yeah.
Now we're just getting the two. We're getting Tim Curry, which I think is really awesome. We're talking about it over the weekend with our kids. I want to see Tim Curry, but I don't want to see current Tim Curry because after the stroke, he's still in the wheelchair and stuff. And it's cool that he's coming and he's doing a bunch of stuff, but I don't know if I want to see him.
Yeah. We'll see.
Is that wrong?
No. You want your idols to
live on in infamy as they
in your brain.
Right.
Yeah.
Same thing with Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer's coming. He did Salt Lake Comic Con last year, and now he's doing Phoenix this year. Again, somebody I kind of want to see, but he's had a whole bunch of health issues. He's healthier now. He's healthy now, but is somebody I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sean Mayer is coming. Anybody from Firefly is always a good thing. Sean Patrick Flannery is coming from Boondocks and everything else. I think that's cool. But they'll be in the smaller rooms. And the three big ones we want to see is Shatner, Wheaton, and Folger. And each one of them are at 1 o'clock on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Right.
And so that's going to work out perfectly for us. And then everything else is kind of iffy. If we make it to it, if not, we're not. They're doing a big Rocky Horror Picture Show watch along on Friday, so we might try to go to that just in case Tim Curry shows up. Jason David Frank is coming back. He's part of the reason he was the intended victim of the perpetrator from last year.
Yep.
We've talked about this before. Not a Power Ranger guy. I just don't care about him. And after everything that happened last year and the way he handled everything, I'm just not really excited about seeing him again.
My theory is, because if you don't live here, then you don't know. But he, right after that happened, Sunday, Monday, he was on the news basically trash talking the Phoenix PD and the con and everybody.
Yeah.
And then a couple days later, he was like, "Oh no, everybody was great," and all this.
He
So
kind of backed off those comments a little bit, but still.
yeah, and so and now he's coming. So we're gonna sue the shit out of you if you don't shut up, and now you're
Right.
coming back. I don't
Right.
know, but I don't care. I didn't
Right.
want to see him last year. I don't want to see him this year.
Yeah, he's doing some martial arts demonstration thing too, which cool.
Good
cool
for
on
you. You could have martial arted the guy who was there to shoot you.
Yeah, it was
with
carrying
the
4 guns or whatever.
AK-47. Yeah.
Yeah. So he might be a great guy. We have friends that work in guest relations at the con. They say he's a really cool guy and really easy to get talk to and whatever. But he will always be the reason my con got fucked up. And it's not even his fault. He was the intended victim, right? It's totally illegitimate for me to feel that way. But I will always in the back of my head.
Yeah, he just
handled
it poorly, and I don't have patience for that.
Nope. a whole bunch of Star Wars book writers are coming. Chuck Wendig, Daniel Jose Older, Alan Dean Foster, Jason Fry,
Delilah. Yeah.
Delilah Dawson. They all done different things. I just got doing The Last Shot, which was Daniel Jose Alder's new book. That's the Han Solo Lando book that I just finished it like last week or the week before.
Yeah.
And he's going to be here. He reads part of it. I'm kind of interested to see, like listen to a panel with him. Chuck Wendig, who did the Aftermath series and stuff like that. What I secretly want is all of them in a panel together.
Yeah, and I think that would be awesome.
I don't know if that's actually happening. I haven't been able to find it on the app yet, but whatever. We're getting Diana Galbondan, who wrote the Outlander series. She's making the long drive from Scottsdale to downtown Phoenix.
Out there.
And Gavin McTavish, that's right. Who was in Hobbit, but he's also in Outlander. Are going to be here. They're kind of doing stuff together. I think that's kind of a cool get. Like, I know she lives in Scottsdale. It's not that hard, but it's something that's outside of the norm. Kind of.
Yeah,
thing.
I mean, they've always got Outlander stuff there. You know, as far as like, they'll have like a booth that's giving away paperbacks, and they'll have like the first.
Yeah, is that the Del Rey booth? They had a whole bunch of stuff last year.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So it makes sense, but again, it's like other cons have gotten the entire cast from Outlander,
right?
And we get Gavin McTavish and Diana. It's like, okay,
yeah,
cool. Can we just get like the majority of the cast of something?
So it was 5 years ago now. They had all of the Babylon 5 cast, including Bruce Boxleiter, who came and did the 25th anniversary panel here, and right at the last minute, Bruce got a job and wasn't able to attend that year, but he did a video, and then they had the entire cast of Babylon 5 on stage.
We keep getting like 2 or 3, and then one of them bails for whatever reason,
right.
And so then it's just like, well, now we just have 2, or we just have 1, and you can't really do hey, we're gonna talk about all these episodes with one person. You're really just doing a panel with
for that person. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it just, like, the last 3 years, it's just been that. It was that way with this year with Roker and Sean Gunn, and we're like, oh, okay, we're at least getting 3 of the people from. They're not exactly the top names from Guardians of the Galaxy, but okay. And then, and now it's Michael Roker and Sean Gunn. It's like, well,
yeah,
okay.
This last weekend is it called MegaCon? In I'm gonna say Tampa Bay. I might be wrong. It's Fort Lauderdale, Tampa Bay, Florida. Sticky. They had a Battlestar Galactica reunion, and like 95% of the cast was there, and there was they did a class. They did a couple class photos. Like, they had a big panel, and they all did their individual things. This weekend in London at Heroes and Villains, they're doing the entire cast of Torchwood.
Yeah.
In London, they're going to be there, and a bunch of the Arrowverse people are going to be there too. And I know we have to share.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you. It'd be really cool if they did like Next Generation, like do a Next Generation panel.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we've gotten Brent Spiner. That was like 5-6 years ago. We brought Brent Spiner
4 or 5 years ago.
It'd be cool to have all of them. Just go all out. I'll spend the extra $10 a ticket. I want my con to be really cool. And especially when it's 20 minutes from my house. We're having a long discussion about going to Salt Lake, not this year, but next year, because the Salt Lake Con is like awesome, and everybody they're getting theirs.
Right, and
awesome.
So how do they get people to come from out of state? I mean, we go because we live 20 minutes from it, and hey, we live 20 minutes from a con. Let's go.
Right,
and it's not super expensive to get weekend passes if you get them really early, and so it's cool, but. How do people from out of state that don't have any other reason to come here but to come here for the con, how do you justify that when you have William Shatner and Will Wheaton? Ooh.
And they didn't announce Folger until like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we got Michael Chiklis as like a replacement, like last minute, like
For
last week or whatever,
yeah
for
for
somebody. I can't remember who it
David
was.
Batista maybe.
I don't
I
know,
don't
somebody.
remember. Yeah.
But I agree. Like Salt Lake has, they have 30 people already set for their convention in September, and it's like,
And like 25 of them are people you're like, I see these people on TV
yeah.
every week.
Well, and they've got like Evangeline Lilly. Evangeline Lilly doesn't do cons.
Yeah.
She does like 1 or 2 cons a year. They had Salt Lake had frickin' Mark Hamill last year.
Yeah.
And then they did a frickin' 15,000 seat arena and they filled it halfway up with people from the convention.
Yeah.
That would have been the time to go shopping, by the way.
Everyone is over there.
Over there. Like I said, I'm really excited about the con. There's a bunch of we'll probably end up doing what we did last year, which is get a bunch of the other panels, the smaller panels, the
Yeah.
Doctor Who panels
Yeah.
and stuff like that. There's a couple of YouTube ones. There's that Twitch one again I might be interested in. And then Jason Inman and Ashley Robinson, who do Jupiter Jet, who do stuff for Collider and stuff like that, they're coming. I'm hoping John Schnepp from Collider also comes and we can get his movie. And so like that stuff I'm excited for too.
Yeah.
But for the big panels, like I said, there's like 3 I'm really excited
Yeah.
about. So
Yeah.
we'll go and we'll probably end up having a good time. And at some point in
Yeah.
time, we're like, we should have got a hotel room, but let's go home. Don't give me that look. We're gonna say it. Okay, I'm gonna say it. It's
You and the mouse in your pocket.
The monkey. I'm taking the monkey.
Yes, you and the monkey.
That's what we have to talk about this week on The Big Show. We need to come up with a name. If you have a name for our big long form show, put it in the comments. What's it gonna hurt? Maybe we'll go with it.
And not fuck you, you fucking fucks. That's
been used.
that's taken.
That's been taken. Now we have to go watch Snatch. So what did you guys think? Are you excited about what's going on with Phoenix Comic Con if you're here local, or at least hear us talking about it? Do you want to see a Zombieland 2, maybe? And are you excited about the Obama series and stuff that's coming to Netflix and all that other stuff that we talked about? Let us know. Leave a comment. Tell us what is going on in your mind about this week's show, and then maybe something else that's going on in the news with pop culture. You can get a hold of us to actually, let me tell you this again. Subscribe to the channel. If you're here at the 45-minute mark and you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the button. It makes it gray. It's magic. It's cool. Ring the bell. I'll start singing again.
Oh, God.
You've been here for 45 minutes and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet? Come on, guys. Come on. You can get a hold of us, too, on Facebook at the Pop Culture Cult. We're Pop Culture Cult 1 on Instagram, and we're at Pop_Cult 1 on Twitter. We're also in the Stardust app. Download it for free from the Android, Google Play, iPhone, Magic Store. Get to watch whatever you're watching, and you turn on your phone, and you get to do little 30-second reviews and reactions to it. It's freaking fun. We do stuff as soon as we walk out of the theater, or we're drunk on the weekend watching something, and we're like, this is amazing. Why do you guys not like King Arthur the Way of the Sword? That may or may not have happened. More than once, by the way. So download it for free. Follow us first. And until next time, I need to go to bed. Good night now.